Last night while searching eBay for the Thank You Luka t-shirt.
I thought about buying one of those. How'd you know that?
Just knew it.
I didn't even tell you.
Mavs are handing out an elite group of statisticians, analysts, and strategists fought and toiled and burned the midnight oil to deliver the best segment in all of sports. It's going to be a disaster. It's not the standings. It's a special edition of NBA Tiers.
It's not going to be a disaster.
It is because I'm going to ruin it.
Wow. Brew, he has taken it. You know, Wildes' a big projector. He accuses me for no reason when I'm just trying to add to the pageantry of the Bud list by doing the media ombudsman. He has started to really try to create a rift between you and me by saying, carving out your segment within a segment, all this stuff.
That's true.
When in reality,
I'm listening.
It is. When in reality, it's what he's doing with all of the segments. With King of the Hill,
what am I doing?
He was like, hey, I'm not going to move anyone. I'm just going to do my own bit on this guy because it's not actually about movement. Today, spoiler alert, America, he said in the meeting before tiers had been announced, I'm doing the Celtics. For all he knows, the Celtics are going to be at the top. And God knows he's not going to say bring them down. So he's just playing by his own rules. That's why he's the bad boy of sports TV. Teams who have been eliminated. No new eliminations. It's these 9 teams, or these 10 teams, pardon me. I have been amazed by how much the Suns quit. I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, just flat.
It's unbelievable.
Quit. By the way, they're still not eliminated, like mathematically, but they're eliminated by effort. All right. Bottom tier, NBA TV. Nothing against our friends at NBA TV. They certainly got more Emmy nominations than this show. However, I'll tell you this much right now. If you're looking for any of these teams in the playoffs, don't turn on ABC, don't turn on ESPN, don't turn on TNT. Go to NBA TV. Yeah. That's where you're going to find them in round 1, matched up against a different game you actually want to watch. Ultimate spoiler, the 9 and the 10 seed right now in the Western Conference, and by that I mean this. Everyone, I think, is pretty damn excited about the 8 teams we think are going to be in the Western Conference playoffs, and I think you can find a lot of people that would pick any of those 8 teams to win a round or more.
Yes.
Either of these teams could knock one of those teams out in that final play-in game. One of these 2 teams is going to be playing one of the other teams in a 1-game sample to steal that 8th playoff spot. This felt mean, but it's accurate. Combined, not a contender. I'm very impressed by what the Pistons have done this year, and the Pacers, nice season. But I mean this. If you put the rosters together and said, pick your best 12, would we say that team can win the championship? The answer to that's no. And so combined, they're not even a contender. Good seasons.
Maybe in the future.
Right. Not right now. We love you, Cade, love Halliburton. Good year, but combined, not a contender. Next one's pretty obvious. The committee kind of took a day off on the naming of this. Literally fired their coach. That's the tier. Literally just fired the coach. So I know the Nuggets are trying to spin it as, we did this so we can win. I'm not really familiar with that. Now I know the Cavs did it with David Blatt, Ty Lue, and they did win, but it wasn't days before the season, and it was days after David Blatt was talking about how being an NBA head coach is more stressful than being a fighter pilot, so he probably was a little over his skis. Michael Malone, good coach. He's a little fiery guy, a little in your face, good coach. I thought Taylor Jenkins was a good coach.
Yeah,
but
he is.
He got grenaded out of there. Opposite paths. Here's what I mean. What's the Knicks' path to a conference finals? 5 guys all averaging 15 plus, collective, the bench playing well. That's the path. What's the Bucks' path? Giannis, can you give us 40, 20, and 8 every night? Every night. Can you do it? So it's very simple, but one is a collective, one is just Giannis. How far can you carry us? What's the expectation? So that's going to determine whether or not you are, how you feel after these postseasons. Because if the expectation is just win a round, then, or, you know, happy, let me back it up. The expectation is happy to be here, which is where the Rockets are, and honestly, where the Clippers might be, given how the year started and Kawhi's injury, all that stuff. It's already been a success. If the expectation is got to at least win a round, then at least one, maybe two, theoretically all three of these teams, depending on how the bracket falls, could end up disappointed. And if the expectation is be in the conference finals, as the Clippers were a couple years ago, as the Timberwolves were last year, then I think they all are going to end up disappointed. But it really just, it's a matter of expectations. Need some breaks. Warriors, Cavs. These teams can win the championship. I'm not going to, the Cavs have earned, it'd be disrespectful to act like they can't win the title. They can win 65 games, thereabouts, they can win the championship. The Warriors are on a 65-win pace since they got Jimmy Butler. I don't think either can win the championship if all the teams in front of them stay at full strength and are rolling. And so I just think they need a few things to break their way. For the Warriors, it might just be the bracket breaking their way. You know what I mean? Where they end up, you know, with on the right side or fortuitous matchups or whatever it is. For the Cavs, I don't think they can beat the full-strength Celtics. Nobody's rooting for injury, but I think they would need something like what happened to Kristaps in the playoffs last year happen again, where he misses some time and it's when you're playing him. Next, the best team. Look at the point differential. Look at they almost won 70 games. They have the league MVP. I know they're the best team. I know they are. I know all the numbers say it. I know that all we can point at is the youth and, you know, the lack of playoff experience and the fact that Luka Doncic ritualistically lights them on fire every single time they play. But that doesn't matter. They're the best team. They're a really, really good team. They're not, however, the scariest team, which is the Los Angeles Lakers. Luka rounding into playoff form, including how he treats the officials, for good or for bad. Austin Reeves exceeding everyone's expectations.
Give him credit.
The Lakers, sorry, Brew, for the first time since Frank Vogel are not going to be systematically outcoached in every round of the playoffs. And LeBron, healthy going into the postseason for just the third time in his Lakers career. The first time they won the championship, the second time they made the conference finals. We'll see what happens this year. However, that is not enough to put them atop the tiers. Atop the tiers of the Boston Celtics. That tier is called Wildes' opponent. And here's what I'm talking about.
Wow. Shots fired.
Kevin Wildes would have you believe, if you follow him on Twitter, Brew, which let me tell you, don't do.
Yeah,
he has.
That he has basically been the sports media version of Lucky, the Celtics mascot, just waving the green pom-poms all year long, sending out tweets about how, I don't know if you saw this, Jim, there's not a team in the league whose third best player would start on the Celtics.
I haven't heard. What?
Which, by the way, may or may not be true.
Who is it?
But it is so. It is
Austin Reeves.
about
Austin Reeves?
I don't know. My takeaway, Brew, was it was such a Jimmy Butler couldn't start for the Celtics.
Jimmy
clearly.
Butler? Oh no,
you got
he needed 12 points.
Draymond.
Well, Draymond would definitely start for the
Draymond.
Celtics. But regardless, I thought my takeaway on that was
Draymond's
Wildes'
good.
abandoning of Chet Holmgren.
I like Draymond.
But regardless, point is this: one would think, if you follow him on Twitter, that last year he believed in the Celtics, which he didn't because they were in the no one, and that 2 weeks ago he believed in the Celtics when he was telling me and Bill Simmons the Thunder are the 72 Lakers.
Have I made my pick?
Yeah.
For where was
Celtics.
it? When was it?
Yesterday
Pull the
on the
tape.
show.
Yesterday,
okay,
you said no
pull
one's
the
beating
tape.
them.
I said
Pull
they're
the
going to win
tape.
the championship.
You said the Celtics were going to win the
tape?
championship, and everyone is going to say it was so obvious.
I haven't made my pick yet. The season is still rounding into form. I'm still collecting data.
It's the latest
you
edition
guys,
of Tiers.
You guys came out early. Both picked the Lakers. God knows that's great for television.
Go ahead.
I haven't made my finals pick. I picked the Lakers to win the West. Not a bad.
Yeah, that's a great point. I
I
apologize.
think Brew's going to
You're
end
right.
up picking the Celtics.
I may pick
No,
the Lakers.
bro.
I think he's going.
I might have to pick the
Right
Celtics.
now, those two are right there near the top of
Yeah.
my list. But here's what I'm doing, Nick. I am moving the Warriors ahead of the Thunder.
Wow.
And here's why. Now, I know people think I hate the Thunder.
Yeah.
Just because I'm the voice of reason. Because everybody else is fawning over these analytical statistics and all that stuff. I got news for you. The numbers today are going to be spectacular. Every year there's going to be a team. Last year was Boston. Now they did win the championship, but still, this year it's Oklahoma City. Like, because of the three-point shot, the numbers are going to be different.
That's
all right?
fair.
Right. So here, I just know the history of the game, and I've talked about their youth, and I've talked about their, one star. That's all they got. So here's the thing. Golden State's got 3 Hall of Famers, all playing well. I think Jimmy Butler is probably going to be a Hall of Famer.
Putting Pods in the Hall already.
Nah, and Pods is actually playing really well. But they got 3 Hall of Famers. I'm counting Jimmy Butler, playing well. They play great defense. They got a guy starting with Butler you can put on Shea. Nobody's going to stop Shea, but just can aggravate him, make it a little tougher on him. They're also 2-1 against Oklahoma City this year. Shea played in all of those games. In fact, one of the games he had 52 points, and they still lost. And the one game that Oklahoma City beat Golden State, guess who didn't play for the Warriors?
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, right. And all of those games were before Jimmy Butler got there. So Butler wasn't even there to pick up the slack with no Steph, and they still lost 2 of them. Here's the other thing. Golden State feasts, and this plays into my theme of the youth. They feast on young, upstart, on the rise teams. Against Oklahoma City, Minnesota, and Houston, they're 8-4. Winning record against all of them. OKC against those same 3 teams, 4-6. And we know OKC's record against the elites hasn't been spectacular.
They're now 9-10 against the 5 other best teams in the West.
There you go.
Or 10-9. They were 9-9. They just beat the Lakers. Moral loss, but actual win. 10-9.
So for all those reasons, I think the Warriors, with their experience, a little boost from playoff Jimmy, I'm putting them ahead of the Thunder.
So I am not willing to go there at the moment. I might by the end of the year. I still think Celtics, Lakers, Thunder are the 3 most likely teams to win the championship. But I do not feel the way Wildes does that the Thunder should feel good about yesterday. I thought that was a game that they have hung their hat on 2 things. One showed up yesterday. Nobody can guard Shea. And the Lakers, by the way, don't have anyone to guard Shea, and that will absolutely show up. The other thing they've hung their hat on is we have the best defense in basketball. And they scored 80 in the first half and were trailing in the second half because they can't, in my opinion, they cannot slow down the Lakers offense.
When the Lakers had 72 in the first half, they were 43 in the first quarter, 42, 43?
Yeah.
So they put, and that's 2 straight games, they just put it on them offensively.
Go ahead, KW.
I'm going to do 2 teams.
Great.
First, I'm going to address these Thunder allegations, mostly from Brew. Point differential. You know I'm a big point differential guy.
Yeah.
Look, here's the thing, bro. Can we put up the point differential graphic of the Thunder? It's now most 10-point wins in a single regular season.
That's not the point differential.
Well, it's just still big wins.
Losing by 30 to the Lakers.
All those teams won championships,
And they're also all some of the greatest teams of all time.
Yeah.
72-win Bulls, Kareem's second year in the league, the first year Durant Warriors, and the 33-game win streak Lakers.
I do understand that the 3-point shot kind of might skew these numbers, but the opponent's shooting threes too. So I get it that maybe the lead gets out of hand quicker, but I still feel like this full screen is nothing to.
So then,
the Thunder. You think Thunder are the best team in the league,
and they're going
to win the championship?
No, I think they're disrespected on the program, and I'm just trying to add some balance.
I respect them. I'm just saying you got to take your.
Brew has them. Hold on, just real quick. Brew has them 4th in the league. Yeah. I have them 3rd in the league. I
have them next to Wilt Chamberlain's Lakers.
Okay, all right. So you have them 1st in the
Not
league.
me, actually. Josh, who made this graphic.
So you have them 1st,
and better than the 95-96 Bulls.
Yeah, exactly.
According to the graphic.
Much better than the 95-96 Bulls.
Well, they started slow.
Yeah.
No Scottie Pippen. But I am actually talking about the Celtics. And you might say, wow, Kevin, aren't the Celtics at the top of the tiers? And I'd say yes. But again, I think there needs to be a vacant spot.
Wow.
So the Thunder can't even be beneath them. The Thunder, who are better than...
You know what? You could put the Thunder above the Lakers because they did just beat them by 16 or 13 last night.
Well, since we've done the tiers, they played twice, and they actually were outscored in that 2-game set.
That's not how we do sports.
Okay, well, then they're 1-1.
We don't add.
Then they're 1-1. That is how we do soccer, actually, but go ahead.
Yes, we're not in the group play. And then a little gap between the Celtics and the Lakers. Most road wins. I got another one. Because you guys are students of the game. Most road wins in a single season. Again, 95-96 Bulls.
Yeah.
And the Warriors, and again for the
different Warriors team.
Different Warriors team, but that Warriors team was very good. I cannot read it again.
That's the
white on yellow.
That's the 73-win Warriors. That team certainly won the championship.
So Celtics are right there. So they're going to have home court advantage. Obviously, they're the 2 seed, but not.
So they're not, but they're not great at home, I guess.
Well, they're pretty good at home too.
Well, they can't be that good at home.
They've lost a handful of games, sure.
Yeah, but
they're all-time great. And then, who's going to be the face of the league? That's a great question. You know, last night at the Garden, here's Tatum tying the game, ends up winning it in overtime. And I don't know if you saw these stats going around, but I had Josh crunch the numbers.
He's great at these.
Highest career field goal percentage should tie, take the lead. Last 20 seconds of the first quarter overtime. Dirk is 1. Tatum is 2. And it was tough, Josh said. He was in there sweating. I said, Josh, why are you sweating so much? He said, the Celtics are so rarely in this position. I have to go deep into the annals of Tatum's career.
A program.
No, he does it by hand. He does it by hand.
I can do it.
Tatum is, so it's Dirk, Tatum, Rudy Gay, shout out to UConn's Rudy Gay, Tim Duncan, Steph, and Kyrie are next up on the list. So when it gets close, there's Jason Tatum. He's better. He's shooting.
I love that shot from him last night.
It was great. So Celtics are obviously winning. Everybody knows it. I'm not ready to make my pick.
Wait, you just made a pick.
You just made it.
Celtics are obviously winning. Everybody knows it. Sounds like a pick to me.
If I went to a horse race and I was like, you know what? Beautiful Quilt is obviously going to win.
Then that's your pick.
That's your pick.
Okay, and if I go up to the gate, I'm like, Beautiful Quilt won. They say, you didn't make your pick. I said, but I said it out loud.
No, you didn't make. You haven't bet on the Celtics.
For our purposes.
For our purposes, you've made your pick.
Did I pick Beautiful
again?
You're locked into the Celtics.
I'm not locked in yet. I'm still analyzing.
This is what.
They do look very, very
Here's
good.
the other thing. They look great. They're
champions.
They struggle with the Knicks.
There's no. I just want to know, do you care more about this year or last year? Because based on everything you've told us, you think the Thunder are the best team this year. Even during your Celtics segment, you couldn't help but give them
deserve.
Right. But hold on. But you think because of the pedigree of the Celtics, that if they were to play the Thunder, they would beat them. Right?
In the playoffs? In the finals?
Yeah. That's kind of what you're leaning towards.
Yeah, I lean towards champions.
Okay.
I'm a winner.
That's fine. So why, I'm just curious, why do you find it so offensive that Brew is doing that exact same math if the Thunder were to play the Lakers? When the Lakers have a champion in LeBron James, the Lakers have a guy in Luka who knocked the Thunder out of the playoffs last year, who made the finals. Why are you allowed...
if you want to have a real conversation, because Brew, I rarely go at Brew. I prefer to
go with me. I know, that's why I said it.
I'm dropping historical facts.
Exactly. And you will lay out, this is not how you get to a championship.
Yes.
You have to take your lumps,
Yes.
like all the other great champions.
Yes.
I would ask you, when has a team added the second best player or best player played about 30 some odd games, and then won the championship. And don't say Rasheed
The 04
Wallace.
Pistons.
Rasheed Wallace was not the star of that team.
There was
that
no
team is
star.
not built like this. Exactly.
He was like right there
this
with Chauncey.
Pistons team is that Pistons team was 5 guys and a bench, not 2 guys.
Then the
and Jackson
95
Hayes.
Rockets.
Clyde Drexler.
The 95 Rockets.
Yeah, Clyde Drexler.
Yeah, don't come at Brew and I on the
He's the second best player to Olajuwon.
Exactly.
Then
The
maybe-
04
There you
Pistons
go.
and the 95 Rockets.
I'm waiting
But
for my apology.
Thank
For
you.
Clyde Drexler?
Yes.
Was there anything weird happening there?
Oh,
What do you mean?
oh,
Were the reigning champions around?
No, yes, they
the
were
best
the
player in
reigning
the world
champions.
was
They were the
playing
reigning
baseball.
champions.
The real reigning champions.
No,
The belt was vacated, and
Okay,
everybody knows
all right.
it. The belt was vacated. They grabbed it for 2 years.
Yeah, but they
Then
were the best team playing.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.